Welcome, everyone, to the MadGood Knicks Show, Season 5.
What?
Preseason episode.
What?
Some familiar faces here. I think you guys recognize us. Far here, Pete there, Steph, Jay, TK.
Right.
So we've been on a little bit of a hiatus.
We have.
We were in jail. We were locked up, but we don't need to talk about that.
That's okay.
Anyway, the New York Knicks in the meantime. The New York Knicks in the meantime.
What about them?
All right,
Locking it
so
up.
things have changed.
They have.
We have to talk about the culture shift. Jay, since you won't shut up,
Yes.
can we confidently say that the embarrassing Knicks culture is absolutely behind us?
Absolutely.
And there's a follow-up.
Yes.
Who deserves the credit for this change? Jay?
Absolutely. I think we're looking at that in the rear view mirror, and I have to say, we owe the front office for this. I don't think there's truly a single person. Obviously, the foundation started years ago, and there are people that are still there, and they're there for a reason. But it's truly a teamwork amongst the front office. I have to give it all credit to them.
I like it. Let's go to the front row here. Pete?
Yeah, man. Jay, I totally agree with you. I think the front office has made a lot of strategic moves, little by little, that over the course of 2 years has slowly changed the complete dynamic of the team, and also has changed how we as fans feel about the team.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's given the team a lot of legitimacy. The culture has changed because I think, not that the team has changed altogether, but the culture now I think is going to foster growth. You see a lot of camaraderie. You see the players seem happy. And just generally there's a positive sense of...
See a lot of Knicks shows up.
You know, it's a positive atmosphere. I think it's like we've said like the future is bright many times, but I think this time it's hard for me to poke holes in that. So I don't know. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. Definitely excited, and I'd have to say, yeah, the front office was instrumental in just changing the coaching culture and the play culture.
Goodbye, pessimistic Pete. Hello, pretty
The
Pete.
culture changed.
Positive Pete.
Pete had his own culture change.
TK,
I did, yes.
Your thoughts?
Yo, first things first. Welcome back, guys. It's good to see you.
Welcome
Let's
back,
break the
man.
ice real quick.
Thank you so
shout
much.
out to my guys. It's good to see you. It's good to see you guys back at home. Yeah, the culture change has absolutely shifted in the right direction. I couldn't be more excited, more proud of what they developed last season. Going into this season, I'm expecting big things. And for who deserves the most credit, I'm going to drop a name. I know you guys were kind of like dancing around the front office. Scott Perry. Bro, it was Scott Perry who rode through this thing, right? He kind of navigated through rocky waters. He's the one that brought along Julius Randle. He brought along Marcus Morris, traded him, you know. There's one thing, though, his weird infatuation with Alfred Payton, which we won't discuss, but that was a negative.
I think we share that in common.
Yeah, okay. And, you know,
I still like him.
just he was the guy that kind of rode the rocky waves and ride the ship for us. But Leon Rose, you deserve credit, too. You did your thing. Big boss moves.
That is
Mafia
that
style
agent
Sopranos,
mentality.
baby.
Yeah.
Steph, you got
Sopranos,
anything to add? Because it seems like we're all mostly in agreement.
Wow. Yeah, you can just skip me. No.
Well, I did it.
No, I definitely want to, what's the term? Piggyback on Jay's statement. 100%. I think the front office is a lot credit needs to be given to them. And it's a simple fact. I mean, I know one game right here, we're in the preseason, it just started, but I'm seeing a lot of the same themes that I saw last year that can only be controlled by a front office, the coaching staff, things such as movement on both sides of the floor, cohesiveness, and just ultimate kind of culture within the players on the floor. So I think that a lot of variables have changed throughout the years. Like the players always changed, but the front office has stuck the same. All right, Jay. The front office has stuck the same,
just happy to
but
see you.
basically,
It's been a while.
you know, that's what I was going to say. The variables on the floor have really been changing, whereas the staff has been different this time around. So it's visible on the floor a lot.
You know what? I mean, I agree with what you guys are saying, but I think the credit here goes to Tom Thibodeau. At the end of the day,
If you were listening, I said coaching staff. Welcome to the MadGood Nick Show.
No,
Subscribe,
you said
comment,
coaching
like.
staff. You said coaching
Roll the
staff.
credits.
Yeah.
You said coaching staff. I'm giving credit to one person. That's Tom Thibodeau.
Tibbs.
I think
the coach.
everyone else has absolutely contributed. I think everyone else has definitely done their part, but like that weird Alfred Payton obsession with Scott Perry. I think he's done a ton of positives, but like that's the one negative. With Tom Thibodeau, I can't quite think of that many negatives that this man has done since he's brought the team to where it's at.
I agree.
And think about the defense.
No,
all
I
of these
agree.
all of these players, like
Yeah.
they've become a top flight defensive team. Individually, a little sus on the defensive end, but Tom Thibodeau is what has put this team over the top in terms of defensive respect. Now they got some shooters. Now they got some scorers. They got some ball players now.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's a
Got
good.
some real hoopers,
That's a good point
bro.
you're saying, bro. Because it's so hard to get. You can get a bunch of individual defenders, but it's really difficult to get them to work together. And Thibodeau has been able to do that. He's been able to get players that, as you mentioned, individually aren't great defenders, but as a team and a unit, they work really well together.
I mean, just to tackle on that real quick, if your best individual defender was Reggie Bullock, and you're like a
Right.
top 3 defensive team, I mean that's incredible right there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Randall was never known for defense. Let's be straight up.
Or
My man
offense.
just became
As
an
much.
all-star.
assists.
Yeah.
As much.
He became an all-star
everything.
overnight. He became most improved player.
Not about overnight.
Yo, I think look,
Over the
Scott
summer.
Perry,
From
Leon
one season
Rose.
to the next,
Yeah, over
that's
the
pretty
summer
overnight.
for sure.
He
yeah.
still went through one season of like, fuck, this is tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, because who was coaching him?
You gotta learn.
I forgot his name. We just won't mention it right now.
My guy was laughing down at the Bucks by 70. Like, it was all good.
So I know we've been obviously removed from this for a little while. So we all agree, like the culture shifted. Is it fragile right now? Like, is it gonna be something where like
No.
2, 3, 4 bad games happen, all of a sudden like this
No.
is a joke of a franchise? You guys think this is absolutely bulletproof as long as this staff,
Look,
and this
injuries
this
can
front office?
happen. There are things that I think as fans we're just going to simply understand. We're going to, like, it's within context. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
But we understand as well that, to your point, we have ball players. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
confident in the
it's-
starting 5.
I think the concrete has been set in stone.
Even
the foundation
the bench,
is
too.
ready to go.
Take that back.
You know, the fact that Randall signed long term, read up on his deal. You got Rose on a 3-year. You got.
I mean, can you also blame Randall, though? No, I'm not trying to bring up his
in
like
terms
history and
of-
injuries, but you got to secure the bag. I just think it was strategic on both ends.
Yeah, but I'm
The
talking about the
timing was great.
franchise here. I'm talking about the franchise.
Yeah, but signing long term, if I'm Randall, no, bro, give me the bag and give me the
I
security in
understand,
terms of years.
but I understand from his
Also,
standpoint.
especially
I'm talking
where I
about from
enjoy
a
myself.
franchise's standpoint.
It was smart
if they
for
didn't
both.
believe, but if they didn't fully believe in him,
Yeah.
they didn't need to rush this extension.
No.
You understand? So like that's what I'm saying. Setting the foundational pieces.
Yeah.
R.J. Barrett, his development from year 1 to 2, 14 points per
Yeah, that
game
was
to 17
catapulted.
points per game.
He
His
credited
3-point
Tibbs mainly
percentage,
for that.
32% to upwards of 40.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, the foundation is set. I don't care what they say about R.J. Barrett.
He
He's
stayed
become
great
a
every single day.
legitimate shooter.
Every single day.
Knockdown.
But yo,
Every
he's not a
kept
top.
motivated.
Yo,
culture.
Tibbs
he's
getting
not a
motivated.
top player under 25. He's not a top 30.
According to
No.
according
According to ESPN, that someone needs to be fired.
Hey, listen, we
sign
don't
the
give
man
those
the Nick
dudes
show.
credence
Do we
anymore.
need that?
The
What is the
ESPN
That's
man,
some
get rid of
BS.
that.
While you were Steph, what were you
CBS
saying?
Sports, all
No,
that.
no, I was gonna say, do we even need a top player? I mean, a young player, top under 25. A lot of players I've noticed fit the system way better that are top 50, let alone some players that are top 10 that can't even score
Yep.
a bucket in the league. So it's about the system. What you were saying, man.
I think in terms of the stability of the changes, one thing that that I think is good to see is at least I think a lot of the off-season moves and stuff make more sense in a greater context. You know, like we had a big presence down low. We had Julius Randle and stuff, but we didn't just randomly pick up players that didn't seem to make. I mean, initially it seemed like 2 years ago we did, but you know, Mitchell Robinson went out. We got Taj Gibson back.
Yep.
We were really struggling
He
at the
looked
point guard
impressive.
position.
Game
Alfred
one.
Payton and you know, R.J. Barrett were some of the worst in terms of running pick and rolls. So I think
Terrible.
now we loaded up the guard position. I think we're going to free up Randall and Julius, and I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the kind of Julius Randle I think doesn't get the credit he deserves because he struggled a little bit in the playoffs, and I think he struggled in the playoffs. Because he's a mid-range heavy player,
Yeah.
and when they load you defensively at the paint, he didn't really have a lot of outlets to pass to.
Yep.
But now you've got a lot of players like Kemba Walker, like Evan Fournier,
Fournier,
like
yep.
a lot of guys who can actually create and are like traditional playmakers So in my mind, I think a lot of the guard deficiencies that were there have been supplanted. Obviously, we're not like talking about huge all-star level players, but at least we're building in a logical way that allows us to build in year after year. I think.
Bro, between Kemba and Derrick Rose, that's just beautiful.
All right.
Yeah,
We're
I
jumping the
agree.
gun here. We're jumping
Oh,
the gun.
come on, bro.
We're jumping the
I'm
gun.
just
We
saying.
gotta
He
get
He has
Hold
to
on.
changes,
You ever
the changes
seen
look stable. And to
Dragon
me,
Ball Z, how two people
they-
can
they
like
have
just
that.
do a thing, a transfusion and shit.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
All right.
What about Dragon Ball Z?
That's
Yo,
Kemba
all right,
right
just-
there.
we gotta wrap this up, but I don't want this to be all sunshine and rainbows.
Why? It's
Fine.
great.
Because I know it's been a miserable last
That's
4
why we
years.
took a hiatus.
It's been a miserable last 4 years,
was
discounting
rough.
last year. Yo, stop interrupting me, Jesus Christ.
It's been a
I
while.
It's been a long 4
I
years.
want to talk about why we took a hiatus.
Is there one
tell me the life
negative
story.
that you guys can point out, potentially going into the season or stemming from last season, related to the culture? One
Only
negative
relating to the culture?
One negative.
culture team going into 2021 and 22.
I'll go first since I've been talking a lot. Too many Knicks shows.
All right, next. I mean, I don't disagree, but next.
Oh, God, Steph, you go ahead. I can't
All right, I'll
contain
go.
myself. God damn it.
I wouldn't say there's anything necessarily negative. I would just say the only non-positive thing would be duration, tenure, right? Having these guys and players play more with each other and develop some chemistry. So that's the only negative thing, is you're seeing a lot of that new raw chemistry starting to develop. So that just takes time, and now I'm definitely more patient to let that kind of marinate and let the team develop than I was previous years by a long shot.
Pessimistic Pete, don't let me down.
I won't let you down. I think a lot of the results of this season are going to be dependent on the health of Kemba Walker, of Derrick Rose, of Mitchell Robinson, the development of RJ's game. So even though I'm hopeful, there is a lot of fragility there that I think if we get 1 or 2 injuries, suddenly what seemed like a very hopeful season could kind of regress a little bit. But I think, again, like that'll be an injury kind of, that's more injury related. And I think
Still a concern.
that doesn't mean that like the year after
Yeah.
we won't do better. But I think that would be the negative thing. I said our team is built around some guys that have shown to have some kind of injury history, and that could derail the season if we have some bad luck.
I love all the returning players, by the way. So like the continuity is amazing.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. T.
If I had
Last word.
one concern, it would be defense from the guard position, right? And no matter what you guys say at home, including myself, Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock were plus defenders. They were slightly above average.
Thank you.
And now when you have Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, neither of them are really good defensively. And our primary defensive, perimeter defender is now R.J. Barrett. So he assumes the role of Reggie Bullock.
Yeah.
If he gets into foul trouble early, where do we look? Who steps up? 48? No. He's not going to be your defensive stopper. So.
I think we got a ton of good wings. I'll say good wings, but like when you just break it down by the 5 positions, our small forward spot is
It's a weakness. Yeah, for
weak.
sure.
For sure.
Weak. All right, so this is just the first segment. We got many more coming up. Stick around. Feels good to be back.
It
Love you
does.
guys. Miss you guys. Hope everyone's
yo.
safe and happy. Let's do it.
What's up, Knicks family? It's Pete from the MadGood Knicks Show. So happy to be back for Season 5. And already that time of the year for season prediction. So I predict 46 wins, 36 losses, which is roughly the same percentage as our winning percentage last year. Now, you would think like, well, we got all these players. Shouldn't we do much better? Well, I think there's going to be an adjustment period. We may have some injuries. So I've kind of compensated some of those wins and put them in the loss column just to account for that. But I think 46-36 and roughly around the same seed in the East.
That's enough pressure.
So I think we're going to be 47-35. The reason being because the ball movement that I saw, the fact that you have Kemba Walker, the fact that you have Fournier just truly fitting in, slotting in like it is apple pie, with the ice cream on the side. It just fits together. It works great. That's what I like to see. And the fact that we have a lot of noobs out here that we got sent our way, it's great to see the potential that we also have. So 47-35, East Side.
What up, y'all? 45-37 is my prediction for this season. Above 500 is a must for this season. Kemba, all the additional dogs we added to the team, I think we should be good to go for this year. Only thing that I'm really looking forward to seeing is how does the bench work with the main guys on the team? I know that they're going to be propelled by the veterans, right? You got Taj, you got some of those guys on there to really push them forward. But, yep, 45-37 is my final.
Yo, what's up, guys? TK here. I'm predicting 51-31. I'm going big, over 50 wins. I know last year they were pretty damn close to that. This year, above. I think we're going to blow out a lot of teams early, catch teams sleeping on us, and we're going to have a lot of success. Holla at your boy.
Yo, what's going on? So my prediction is going to be 50-32. For the first time since 2012-2013, the Knicks will crack the 50-win mark. Why is that? Honestly, they might not be the best and most skilled team in the East, but I'm counting on some injuries, and also Tibbs is the golden coach. So 50 wins. Here we go.
Oof.
All right, so it was a lonely, last year. We were all, quarantined up, just begging for someone to send noobs.
What did he say?
But what I'm talking about is the noobs, the new players on the Knicks, guys. Let's talk about them. Starting with hometown hero, BX stand-up, Kemba Walker. T, I'll give you the floor. I know you've been dying to talk about Kemba.
I've been dying to talk about Kemba Walker.
Let's
First,
hear
let me
it.
give you a little backstory. When I was in high school, I went with this girl who knew Kemba Walker from, I believe, middle school in the Bronx to go watch his high school games at Rice. This is Rice before it became defunct in Harlem, 123rd. But so that's how far back we go, following Kemba Walker and his journeys and playing with the Gauchos in Harlem and all that.
Gauchos.
Excellent. So I am thrilled to have him home in New York. Kemba's a guy that I think we've all wanted to join the Knicks for a long time now, especially when he was a free agent a couple years ago. We wanted to see him then. Glad to have him home. Hopefully he's healthy. I think that ultimately will lead to our success. The more games he's able to play at a higher level, I think Tibbs will keep him fresh, along with D-Rose, and I think we'll have some success this year.
Steph.
For sure, man. I couldn't agree any more than everything you just said. Kemba is homegrown. He's a New Yorker. My first pick, of course, was Kyrie. As you know, a New Jersey-born kid, but that's aside right now. He's a Brooklyn guy. But Kemba is just one of those players where he brings that New York flavor to the game, right? He's got the ability to handle the rock. He's got the ability to drive. He's got that aggressiveness. And Pete and I have been raving about him ever since we interviewed him at, where was that, Pete? Basketball City, that's where it was, man. And ever since
The new
then,
Basketball City,
Pete
not
asked,
the old one.
when will you be joining the Knicks? And he's like, man, hopefully soon. And here he is, so couldn't be happier to have him on the
Welcome
squad.
home, baby.
I love
There you
it.
go.
He's a third New York native on the Knicks, which needs to be said. Taj and Obi. It's awesome. I nothing to add here. It's an awesome story. All right, let's get to the next one. Redeeming France. Some people will not like that I just said that because we got some, Frank Ntilikina stands hard
Lover
body.
boys.
Bad
I
taste.
do not know where this one comes from. Like, no disrespect to him. Great kid, but like from a basketball standpoint, there was just not a whole lot of progression. I think coaching was also part of it. We'll see what he does in Dallas. Best of luck to you. Let's talk about Evan Fournier, though.
Yeah.
That first preseason game, I think, showed us what an important part of the rotation he could be. Spacing the floor, passing to the right guys. He could drive. I mean, and the chemistry with Julius Randle, man, that was a thing of beauty. Guys, let's talk about Mr. Fournier.
Yo, so, my bad if you don't mind. But Fournier, I was thoroughly impressed. I commented on Twitter that he was a much better playmaker than I had initially given him credit for. I didn't expect that from his game. I did see a stat where him and Kemba, in the limited minutes that they did play together last year with the Celtics, they produced at a high rate. I don't remember offhand, so forgive me, but they were killing it. Their offensive rating was through the roof. So it was nice to see him paired up with somebody who he's familiar with, get the system going. There was a spot where Randall kicked it to him in the corner. The guy slid over, ran him off the line. He put the ball on the deck, 3 dribbles to the basket, dumped it off for Taj. I mean, it was a thing of beauty. He is going to be so effective in this offense for us. And not to mention, he was also slightly better defensively. than I thought as well. I won't get into that, but
I'm
go
telling you, like I said in the last segment, individually, meh. But together,
Yeah.
Tibbs knows what the hell he's doing. He said it in the preseason interview too. Like, defense is a team game. I think all of us are fans realizing that how much of a team game it is. Tibbs has something special with this core group. What do you think about Fournier?
I think Fournier is a great addition. Of course, it's too soon to really determine anything, but just based off of what
Put him
T
in the
said-
Hall of Fame. Hold on. No,
Put him in the Hall of Fame, first ballot. But
retire that jersey
like we
number.
did Frank.
exactly. No, but Evan Fournier brings something different to the table. He's a pretty decent-sized body. He's a quintessential, like, if you would say, solid basketball player, right? He can do everything pretty well. He doesn't have a specialized area. And what I like about the players that Tibbs is adding to the team, and the team is being stacked up with, is the fact that it helps Randall. It helps our main players. That's what I'm thinking about it from that perspective. Like, how much can we take a load off Randall, right, if he's getting in the paint? Because what Pete said mentioned before, which is the playoffs, is we need to be able to alleviate that pressure in the middle, spread the floor out, and then also be able to put that energy on the defensive end. So I think Evan Fournier is going to be that good system guy, and he really will work with Tibbs, which is why T mentioned, right, his defense is better than we expected.
Absolutely.
And what Farr mentioned is because, like, the system works for him. So it's good so far, one game in, but we'll see.
I love the unselfishness of all these guys. Fournier is part of that too. All right, let's talk about the rookies. I haven't been this excited about a draft class since David Lee, Channing Frye, and Nate Robinson trio. But Grimes, Sims, and McBride, man, let's talk about them. I'll start with Sims real quick because, like, I'm a Sims fan.
Me too.
I've been texting these guys nonstop. You know, I think what Mitchell Robinson has done in the offseason to his body is phenomenal. He's got to stay healthy. But if he does not, Jericho Sims is someone I am so confident in. He looks like a man-child, double-double machine in college. And you all saw the highlight reel that he put on in the Summer League. He held his own. He didn't look out of place in the NBA. I know he's got a two-way contract just because of the depth, but this is a kid I'm excited about.
Real quick, also touch on his defensive capabilities. Look at his lateral quickness. Look at how he's able to move his feet. And you don't find that a lot from big men. You know, it doesn't come easy. This kid gets into horse stance defensive position, and he's able to slide with guards and not pick up fouls. So I'm expecting him to Kenny Payne. Thank you. God damn it.
Okay,
I expect him to get to work with Kenny Payne, and they're going to get busy.
Yeah, Steph. We only talked about Sims, but like we're running out of time. Grimes and McBride, it speaks for himself.
True, yeah, no, Sims, I agree with you guys. Big boy, he can grab the boards, and I think, as you mentioned, great pick and pop, pick and screen players, so that's going to be great to see. In terms of McBride and who else did you mention? Grimes and McBride. I like having two of these guys, man. It's because you have 2 point guards now that can help kind of run the floor. If you look at some of their Summer League highlights, granted the first game didn't really pan out that well in the preseason, but if you're just checking out their highlights from Summer League, they're not any punks, man. You know, they can dribble the ball, they're confident, they look like they're in control of the game, and they're trying to make things move on the floor. So obviously, Summer League is not a telltale sign. We'll see how that translates, but it's only game 1.
Yeah,
I like how well my man Grimes rebounded because he struggled early in the preseason.
Yep.
And then he came out and he was shooting the lights off the ball.
Yeah, he's a wing. I think you said point guard, but like he's a good ball handler too. And Deuce McBride, I mean, depth is there for the Knicks. I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of playing time unless there's injuries, but I feel so solid with the ball in his hands. He kind of reminds me of a Marcus Smart with how, like, the intensity that he plays with. Yep. I love to see it. Real quickly, though, how do you guys think? I already said with McBride, I don't think he's going to play a whole lot, unfortunately. But what do you guys think the playing time is going to be for all these guys? So Kemba's a starter across the board.
Oh, yeah.
I think we all agree on that. Fournier,
Starter.
Yeah,
starter across the board. All right, Grimes.
I don't
What's
think he's
his
going to
role?
play much at all. I think he's going to be one of the last guys off the bench.
Interesting.
Maybe slightly before Knox or even after.
Yep.
I think at the start of the season we're going to see some different types of rotations. I think we'll see him having more playing time, but that might taper off if he doesn't really have an impact at the start of the season as it goes on.
Yep. So that's it. Send noobs. We love them. We love them here on the MadGood Knicks Show. Let's get to the next segment.
All right, guys. So we are going to talk to you now about who we think the starter should be. What does the depth look like? Guys, let's talk about it.
Camera's over there.
Let's talk about it. Can we talk about it?
All right,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Talk about it.
Starters, easy, no-brainer. Think we saw the starters game 1 of the preseason minus Noel. So I got Kimba, Fournier, RJ, Randall, and Noel starting.
Ooh.
Question before I get to my list.
Shoot.
Ooh.
If Mitchell Robinson is 100% healthy, Noel in front of Mitch?
I think so. I
For
agree
now.
with you, Pete.
For now.
I agree. I think it's going to be
Mitch?
Mitch.
Okay.
I think
Especially
you gotta
with that
work his
body,
way in.
bro.
Yeah, but Mitch has
Come
got to
on,
work
man.
his way in.
He looks
Okay.
like
I know
a
he's fully
G.I.
healthy,
Joe
but, like-
freaking toy.
All right, so if that's the rule, like we're trying to be as realistic to like the present time, then I have to agree with you. It's going to be Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett.
Number 9.
But like
Can't forget about
players,
him. Can't even
Julius
pay.
Randle and Nerlens Noel. Although if Mitchell Robinson were 100% healthy, I'd be on the fence about slating him at that 5 position. But that's my starting 5, and I think, like you said, it's a no-brainer. Although I'm pretty sure I used my brain for that.
We are in agreement. I completely agree with them. I definitely think we're going to see Mitch start at some point this season. You can guarantee
yeah.
that. We can put money on that right now. I start
Right.
with 50 Cent.
So who's going to contact Tibbs and let him know that we're all in agreement?
I already
and
spoke to
that
him. It's all good.
We've approved the starting lineup.
All right, I think we got the easy stuff out of the way. Starters, fairly obvious.
Yeah.
Who is the bench?
We know Rose and Quickly, Toppin immediately coming off the bench. I know we've been talking about Jericho Sims too as well in the previous segment. That kid is
You
problema.
forgot the $30 million man.
Who?
Alec Burks. How
I
you not gonna
forget
have
about
him?
him. I just only think of him in the fourth quarter.
You know what? Alec Burks.
That's it.
Wait, hold on. But Alec Burks is like the forgotten man on this team.
He is.
Right? Like, you don't think about Alec Burks when you think about a potent bench, Knicks bench, but Tibbs loves him. He literally came in
love
last
is a
season
strong
and
word.
saved some games single-handedly.
I told you, fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, man.
Yeah.
Well, not just fourth quarter. Last season, he was the primary ball handler on some nights.
Yeah.
Alfred couldn't do
was.
it.
He was.
Rose was hurt. Burks came in there and played the point guard position. So he's interchangeable. I think this guy deserves more credit than we're giving him. He's definitely on the bench. High rotation guy.
100%.
Absolutely.
I agree. I think at the point guard position, I would see probably something like a Derrick Rose and Emmanuel Quickly in that order. Although with Tibbs, the thing is, like, the order doesn't matter. A lot of players end up getting the same amount of minutes, so it's just
Yeah.
about when strategically to put them at the game. And I think Tibbs is good about knowing when to utilize a player's strengths in different parts of the game. I think at the shooting guard position, after Evan Fournier, I think Alec Burks is coming in
Has to.
at that position,
Yeah, of course.
and maybe even at the depending on the matchups during certain games. I see him even replacing RJ Barrett when RJ Barrett comes out at the 3 position.
I don't know if I see
Potentially.
RJ Barrett coming out
Potentially.
knowing Tibbs. Just saying.
But if in
Potentially,
case,
I
yeah.
think it's that flexible. I think he's a good defender. I think he's kind of like a veteran on this team. He's
Right.
been around for
No,
a minute.
absolutely.
We're a pretty
8 or
young
9
team, so a
seasons.
guy like Alec Burks is he's showing what 10 years in the NBA looks like. So yeah, he's definitely high up in my rotation. And then after Julius Randle, I think we'll be Toppin.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
Kevin Knox, I mean maybe, but he's like kind
Look,
of a distant third.
He showed potential
Taj Gibson,
yesterday,
maybe, depending
in
on the
terms of like
matchups.
yesterday. Well, obviously when the Knicks played, but those cuts that he did,
he improved.
he did.
He improved.
He did. So it was definitely interesting to see. I don't know right now, and this may sound messed up. He may just be like trade baiting. We're going to use that.
That's certainly possible too. No, Knox.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Alec or
Knox,
Knox? Yeah.
Knox. Well, yeah. That,
One more
I have to
wrinkle
agree
that
with.
we haven't really touched on, and this could, shape our rotation, is the continued development of IQ at the point guard position.
Yeah.
Because at this point,
He had 7
now-
assists, man.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
21
No turnovers
minutes.
and 0 turnovers. That's impressive for a guy who's making that transition. At this point in time, he's making Derrick Rose interchangeable, right? So Derrick Rose can play off the ball now and come downhill just in attack mode. Just like we saw in the first preseason game. IQ was controlling the ball, dishing to Derrick Rose goes straight to the basket. Easy. Nobody's getting in front of him. Nobody's stopping him going downhill. But now Derrick Rose doesn't have to do what he did in the playoffs, right? Where we were desperate for a point guard. He was forced into like a playmaker kind of role, and he's never been that guy to be a playmaker. He was more of like a creator, but he was a scorer. Attack first, score first point guard. So I think IQ shapes this rotation, and it starts with him, to be honest.
I totally agree. If you look at the Knicks stats from last season, some of the areas they particularly struggled in were scoring off the pick and roll.
Yep.
R.J. Barrett, unfortunately, I have to say this. R.J. Barrett and Elfrid Payton were among the worst in the league in pick and roll like efficiency in terms of like actually producing
Payton's
points. Outside of that, we were pretty bad in terms of our three-point shooting, in terms of attempts and our makes in the NBA. And then beyond that, the Knicks also struggled. Jesus, I'm gonna forget my third point. Well, let me just make the point about these two.
It's all good.
I think adding Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier gives you a lot of flexibility at the three position,
Yep.
but also totally revamps the way you run pick and rolls. So you're going to see a lot of other players benefit from Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier.
We were
Evan
in
Fournier can
constant
hit a lot of
motion. It
step
was
back
beautiful to
threes.
see.
He's a good mid-range shooter.
Constant
Kemba Walker's
motion.
awesome in the mid-range. So I think that's going to change everything. And then Emmanuel quickly, I think, fits into that mold of a very like flexible, very versatile player. He can penetrate. He can get you shots. His shot is going to develop over time, so I think he's also going to be kind of that threat on the pick and roll to just pop out to the three-point line. So I'm seeing a lot of changes in our roster here that brings us to kind of a more modern NBA team where you can run more pick and rolls. You can do more like three shootouts to the three-point line.
Yep.
I'm just curious to see exactly how the guys that have been here before, like a Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, kind of now react to the new offensive power there. That's
I
kind of
think they're going to react just fine. I mean, I think we
I
saw
think so
in the
too.
first quarter already the playmaking.
Really
that they were
quick,
doing
to
with
wrap
Fournier
it
and
up.
whatnot.
What is Tibbs' rotation going to be set at?
Cut you
Is it
off.
going to be 9 players, 10 players, or is he even going to stress it? Because he's not a guy who puts in 11 guys a night. You know, his rotation's very slim, and he likes to keep it that
I
way.
think it's going to be rotational in the sense that maybe like every 3-4 games, that's when we're going to see it stretch to like 11, 12
that would be
players.
a new wrinkle for him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Pete?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a lot of different rotations, like Steph said in an earlier segment at the beginning of the season, feeling things out like he did last year. We were all frustrated, like, what's our starting line? But I think that's fine for a growing team, and I think eventually it's going to narrow down to a much more strict
Tighter.
rotation,
Yeah.
where they're going to come in and out at different times.
I'm going to go with, to start, just a 9-man rotation. I think he's going to keep it nice and tight.
9-man,
Nice and tight.
nice and Tibbs and tight.
I think that's a perfect way to end it.
Tibbs.
Let's roll on to the next segment,
Bye.
which is us going home. See ya. We done doing a close?